It's Podraza. I'm not making any of this up. Hope you're enjoying your vacation. Still wish to go through this with you. There's one thing I have to leave the way I leave it. That mind out there, when I hear him, is good and savvy. Very savvy. That is all I can say about that, and wish to leave it at that. In this case, and I mean it sincerely, and not yanking you, you have to trust me on that.
Mm-hmm.
The next situation is that I've addressed the Podrazas that they have to answer you when you're back. I don't know what's going to happen, but I let them have it because I should have let them have it. And the other thing is Eugene Cooney, the son, dead or alive. Patrick Flaherty, dead or alive. My mother went to school with Eugene Cooney's father, so she was hurt by that also. Dead or alive, the son, and the father actually, in that case, because the son either went against the father or something or other. Patrick Flaherty was older. Dead or alive, he was an issue. I don't want to hear about Patrick Flaherty. Mystic, or that region, was where he was living near Dr. Casey. That is important in this scenario. My mother determined a whole lot herself on Spring Street and doing backwards time, analyzing it as poor Sherry did here, and she's dead. A friend, she did much the same evolution in her life. And I try to hold her steady on that subject as much as possible, as being involved at least with her own age, at least. And I'm going to tell you that is actually what's proper, at least around that, or older. Now, she's dead, and I didn't contribute to her death. She was a good friend and tried to be. Have a beautiful time away. That's a necessity. You have to have the knowledge that I attacked the two Podrazas. They have knowledge that they should answer you when you arrive back. What takes place, I don't know. Still waiting on that subject, as I have said. Has to be able to defend me and has to be able to wield a gun. In this situation, that is a necessity. Should have never listed that firm, but I had to build a resume. I was trying to resurrect the trust department, anything connected to it at that point in time. There is another mess in there, but that is what I need to know, important to my mother, completely. That's why I mentioned Herbert Birkin and Lyman Brainerd, good influence toward my mother and grandmother. Now, that was a mess. Branford, Mystic, near Dr. Casey, major importance on that mess completely. Now, I need the answer, father, son, dead or not, because I was lied to from that firm also, trying to solve this mess and shut them down. It is complicated from here due to a priest imitating Patrick Flaherty. There's no way I onced over Patrick Flaherty, and there's complications on that. I was trying to get over Peter Pryor at that point in time, and that is where my head was at. That was it. On that subject matter, I never, ever, when I went backwards in time, due to, I think, my mother sleuthing the thing in her own head, also, did I call. It was a whole hard thing, because I think his son showed up at Extra Mart, and it tore me to shreds. Look, the spitting image of him, I could not, would not address it. Peter was supposed to have been married, and I could not address it then at all, The other was connected to my gut levels in the bank. And I wanted him to know I played no role in his demise. That is the truth. Never had an affair. In my life, I have fought it. I have loved only twice. First marriage was a complicated situation. It had to cease and desist, and that is where we're at. You've got some background, and I don't know what was said on the subject matter. He knows his theorems. He knows his math. He is my children's father, and I have to deal with my son always on any subject at all. Then perspective. The aim is to have a husband this year. That is what we're going toward. And keeping my apartment, I love it. Trying to hold the money and trying to view my son, view a meeting, visit with him when he comes here, etc. And I hope to speak to that daughter again. Now, the good part was Brandon Hickey. He did his best. My brain was putty, total putty. I lost my short-term intermediate memory. I could remember what I learned in the beginning. My long-term memory was good concerning trust customers. I broke mentally the day Peter went down the elevator to get married. That last round, my mind went gone. Brandon had to get his work done. Somebody could type 92 words a minute. I could on an IBM Selectric. That was a new system. Somebody else, I was being competed with somebody who could run that thing like crazy, and I was not going to run her out of a job for somebody or other. Brandon would have come in. He even said that I'd come in on weekend to teach you. Well, he was being thwarted by somebody in that law firm, Martha Kleiner, Richter, and Penny, and I was reduced to trying to Xerox, etc. It's a mess for him and a mess for me. There was an ad and trust, and I went across the street. I would not have let Brandon Hickey down. It was the wrong field, but he was willing to recoup and teach it. It was, my father had done some work in that real estate. He was commercial. My father went into it to sell some real estate as another field also to earn extra money. That in short order, cook in the military, and that might have been saved through George Patterson. I'm not clear on that demise, but Brandon Hickey was not the problem. Somebody was competing me and Martha Kleiner, Richter, and Penny, and that kicked back in and united. That was a very bad environment for me, except for the truth on Mary Lou. And the fact that by some miracle, I didn't mess up the system. I didn't have crib sheets. I had nothing. I had 2 more years to try to save a house. And I'm serious intellect. There was no structure. I don't know how they were doing their work. I was told by a friend for a short time in West Hartford, she was in the single scene, that I was demanded to read minds. I said, what are you talking about? But that is the beginning of that process. You're not serviced. You're not noon, 10, 12, or 2. And what else was said? I was upset. I called Peter. I trusted him. He always gave me, I felt the truth. He told me to listen to the highs and lows. Well, I figured that out when I was married to Phil. Now, I'm going to tell you, but the point was I didn't know what it meant. Did loud mean you got it right? Or did loud mean you got it wrong? I wasn't always sure, even with Phil. That is where this whole thing, this is mob stuff, or whatever it was. And I trusted Peter. That was after his marriage, by the way. Now, you're not serviced was said by rolling out loud to my face. Now that's strange to me. Serviced? What am I? A cow? Well, I was called a pig here, etc. Now that's very serious in United Bank. There was a merger. And that, I didn't like the whole thing. I don't remember whether you're gaining weight was said out loud or not. And I said, yes, I am. I have to put some weight on. That's ridiculous. I don't know whether I said it out loud. It was reduced to lettuce leaves and lemon juice and dried beef. That had to stop. I had to quit that stuff. And I did have to put weight on again. Because at the bank, I was pretty thin anyway. And I just went 5 pounds thinner. And that was not with a whole lot of problem. My peanuts and stuff like that I had to have, and my dessert, and it was a hefty portion of it at noon. That's what I could have at noon. I had to have my meals. I told you I ate that. I don't know whether I did. I even ate the grilled cheese crusts from the kids' grilled cheese to have some money, extra stuff for those kids, and not lose that house. Very important. I got to know whether dead or alive, father and son. Problem to me, as was Patrick Flaherty, major problem. He was breaking people. On my desk, somebody was at my desk when I was supposed to work for somebody else. I was told to a closet, which was of the typewriters, Olivetti stink. And I think I had the wrong directions. And desks, empty desks, due to some female. I saved my own pride. I left, went down, went home, and never was called. It was to save